Hi, I'm Helen Pirelli, the Administrative Services Director for Los Alamos County. I'd like to share some information about the upcoming public hearing on Tuesday, October 28th, when Council will consider two proposed ordinances to increase the county's gross receipts tax, or GRT. So why is the Council considering a GRT increase? Well, following a discussion at the September 30th Council meeting in which we presented a GRT and financial overview at the close of our fiscal year 2025 year end, we reported on decreased GRT revenues and the potential long-range financial projections related to these impacts. Council then directed staff to draft the necessary ordinances to impose a 0.5% increment in response to a sharper than expected decline in gross receipts tax revenues. So a little bit about GRT versus property tax. GRT is the county's largest source of funding. It makes up about 72% or 3/4 of the overall budget, while property taxes make up only about 8%. The county has the taxing authority to impose either GRT increments, and for us, that means both municipal and county as an incorporated county, and has the ability to raise mill rates that are imposed on residents and businesses that own and pay property taxes in the county. Currently, we are facing around $13 to $15 million decrease in gross receipts from what we had budgeted, which is currently budgeted at $87 million for FY26. But property taxes are budgeted at $9.8 million respectively. So given our two taxing authorities, a gross receipts tax increase spreads the impact to all consumers in the county. A property tax increase would only impact residents and commercial taxpayers and would require a much more drastic increase to mitigate the magnitude of the revenue loss projected. Again, an increase in GRT helps share the costs of services among residents, visitors, businesses, and consumers that purchase taxable goods and services in the county, rather than relying solely on property tax owners and taxpayers. This helps maintain the long-range ability of the county to provide key services like public safety, roads, parks, libraries, community and social service programs, along with the capital projects such as the community broadband network. The increase would also help in future considerations of programs, projects, and help maintain healthy fund reserves, which in turn maintain our high bond ratings as we consider the issuance of debt to complete some of our capital projects, including that community broadband network. So what exactly is being proposed? Well, staff has drafted two ordinances that would raise the current GRT rate by 0.5%, increasing the total rate from 7.0625% to 7.6875%. And that would be effective July 1st of 2026. And even with this change, Los Alamos County's rates would still be lower than nearby communities. So for instance, Santa Fe and Espanola are over 8% and Taos is over 9%. So although this is an increase for Los Alamos, we would still remain one of the lowest rates in the state. And then how does that affect everyday purchases on taxable items? Well, today a consumer pays about 7 cents on $1 spent, or $7.06 on $100, and $70.63 on $1,000 spent. At the new rate, GRT would be about 8 cents on a dollar, 77 cents on $10, and $7.69 on a $100 purchase. That's an increase of roughly 1 cent, 6 cents, and 63 cents respectively, compared to today's rates. So it's a nominal rate increase. How would this affect local businesses and people living on fixed incomes? Well, we recognize that. We understand that these are challenging economic times, and any increase can feel difficult. For most businesses, though, GRT functions as a pass-through cost, meaning it's collected from the business by the consumer who pays at the time of the purchase, and then it gets passed through to the state, and then we get our distribution. And while it may result in slightly higher prices for goods and services, the impact is relatively small, and Los Alamos would still remain below neighboring communities' rates, and that's an important point to make. When and how can residents share their input? So the public hearing will take place at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, October 28th in Council Chambers at 1000 Central Avenue in Los Alamos. Residents can attend and provide public comments in person, or via Zoom, or they can also submit comments through the e-comment tool. And we do encourage public participation on these decisions that we will be making, that council is faced with making as well. Residents can also learn more at lacnm.com/GRT public hearing. And I just want to take the time to thank you for listening to some information about the upcoming ordinances, and know that we can assure you that our team here at the county is always dedicated to quality governance and fiscal stewardship. And we have many years of experience in finance and administration in our team. Thank you for your time.